a book. One of the many ways in which stories are told. Some stories happy, and others sad.
But none are more magical
than the tale of the secret island. Thomas the Tank Engine, the #1 blue train on Sodor, understands the value of friends. On Sodor there are many different faces and places. Thomas has many different friends as he runs along his branch line. Hello! Thomas loves his jobs on his branch line, but sometimes he can get a little bored and longs for a change. And today, he got one. Thomas saw Gordon, Henry and James. "Hello, what are you three talking about?" said Thomas. "We're talking about the VIP," said Gordon. "The one I'm taking later. Well, tomorrow." "Rubbish." "No, you're not." "Oh, I wish I could take him." "Don't be so silly. Carry on with your work. You've got work to do on your branch line. Off you go." Thomas felt hurt. "You're so vain, Gordon." "Speak for yourself." Thomas kept thinking about the VIP and got distracted. The trucks started to make their plans. The coupling was stuck, and then it snapped. Thomas was out of control and running away down the line. "Oh no!" he cried. He went straight off the rails and through a fence. He slithered down a slope and up an old bridge. The top of the bridge snapped and tilted. Thomas tilted with it, and then he went straight down into an old tunnel and straight through a rock. Thomas didn't know where he was now. "Where am I?" he cried. He looked around. There was no one there. It was very empty and very, very quiet. Suddenly, a diesel burst out of the bushes behind him. "Help!" cried Thomas. Thomas reversed backwards and followed a line across the bridge. He went straight through a rock and disappeared. He reappeared somewhere else and found himself back where he was. Bust my buffers!
Later, Thomas pulled into Tidmouth Sheds. "I found a secret island," he said. But the others just ignored him. They were too busy talking about who was taking Michael the next day. Thomas was cross. Poor Percy didn't even realise what was going on. He was doing his late-night shift. No one was around, just Percy. But the engines were arguing so much at Tidmouth Sheds that the fat controller had to come and tell them off and sort the trouble out once and for all. He pulled up in his car. "Why would the fat controller choose you? You're very important. I know, but I don't care." "Neither do I, but it's me. I'm the important one. I'm obviously going to take him." "Would you just stop?" "Silence!" All the engines stopped at once. Gordon went quiet. Emily sniggered. "Now, what is all this fuss and bother? You're causing confusion. Now then, I'm going to settle this whether you like it or not, big or small. Now, from what I can see, I'm going to choose Henry. Henry is the one that's taking Michael tomorrow." Henry beamed. Thomas was shocked and James was sad. Gordon grunted. Percy didn't even realise. He had stopped at a junction. He was on his way back home. The signal was red and Percy was scared. No one was around. Suddenly something crashed through the level crossing. "What is that?" he cried. Then around a corner sped a large cross diesel. "Bust my buffers!" The fat controller was on his own as well. The diesel glared at the fat controller's car. The fat controller crossed
across the level crossing and stopped.
I need to go to McDonald's. The railway's the quickest way.
The diesel slithered past. He was behind the Fat Controller's car. The Fat Controller suddenly realised,
oh my goodness, I'm being followed.
And he was. The Fat Controller tried to speed up, and he did, to the edge of a cliff. The diesel glided away. But the Fat Controller's car was nowhere to be seen. The next day, Thomas puffed into the yard. Henry was getting ready to take the special visitor. Just you look at my coat, I'm splendid. His coat of paint gleamed in the sun. Thomas was shocked. James was very jealous. Just then, Percy pulled into the yards with the Fat Controller's car. What is that? Said Thomas. It's the Fat Controller's car. It was found this morning, said Percy. James was surprised. Well, I can't stop, said Percy, and he puffed away. Well, I don't have time to worry about the Fat Controller's car. I have to get ready because Oh! Henry had crashed into the paint truck. Paint had splattered down him. I'll take him, said James. Oh no! James had derailed. It's my turn now, said Thomas. I'll take him. Look out! Cried Emily. But poor Thomas had derailed. Bother! Silly pond! Thomas was disappointed. I'll take him now, said Emily, and she puffed away. Toby had seen Thomas's accident and he reversed to save Thomas. Thank you, Toby. Toby puffed and heaved and pulled as hard as he could. Then eventually Thomas's wheels began to come out of the sticky mud and back onto the rails. At last Thomas was saved. Thank you, said Thomas. Thank you, Toby.